This is Evan from Skeletonwitch.
And I'm Scott, also from Skeletonwitch, and you guys are reading, you are watching, you are listening to Damnation Magazine.
Hi everybody, welcome back to another Damnation Magazine interview, only number 2 video interview, and we're here at the Pageant in the Delmar Loop while some other band is playing. Keep it down, you kids!
Noisy-ass kids.
Yeah, those from the Swedes. Sabaton's providing us with a little music, but right now we're going to talk to Scott from Skeletonwitch. How's it going, Scott?
Excellent. It's going really well.
Thank you so much for taking time out to talk with us today.
Yeah, we're happy to. I'm happy to. I guess not we're. No one else.
The collective we. We're happy too.
The collective we is happy.
The royal we. What about your background led you to make the black and thrash sound that Skeletonwitch is known for?
You know, Nate and I met when we were college students, and we decided that we liked hanging out, listening to heavy metal, and playing music more than going to class. Big surprise.
Yeah, I know.
And it just really became a product of our influences and what we listened to. In other words, when we started playing guitar, Nate was in a band that I had listened to before called Circus Sauron, and they broke up, and he had written a couple of songs post that band that were in a similar vein. And he taught me those songs, and we started writing stuff together, and it just became Skeletonwitch. And we didn't sit down and say, like, let's try this, let's do this. It was just like, I loved your other band. He's like, well, I had a couple songs I wrote that I was maybe going to use for that, maybe something else. We broke up. Here they are. I was like, these are great. How about these riffs? And then we just went. And we just went for it. We never really, it's funny because it just happened so slowly that we didn't think about, like, we're starting this band to sound like this, to do this, and, and here we are today. It was like, you want to play in a band together? Sure. You want to, like, hang out, maybe play outside of our hometown? Sure, let's try to book a show there. It's really, it's just, as Nate and I say, we're trying to make a diamond here. It's just time and pressure. And we didn't really think about these things. We were just like, let's play. We had our first show booked before we had the name of the band. Skeletonwitch was an afterthought. Like, gotta call it something. I guess to give you a few influences, though, at the time when we were hanging out and we first met, we were already big fans of Maiden and Priest and, like, the classic stuff. Big fans of Death, not the genre, but the band. And the genre. There'd been a lot of commonalities, and Nate actually introduced me to a little bit more of thrash metal. I had never listened to Violence or Demolition Hammer or even Nuclear Assault.
Oh, really?
Admittedly, when we met. He turned me on to a lot of stuff like that, and I turned him on to some more melodic stuff and some more old school shit. Like, Nate wasn't really listening to, like, Grim Reaper when we met. He didn't listen to, like, a lot of rock and roll like I do, and he didn't realize how good Alice Cooper truly was.
Yeah.
I played him, like, old Alice Cooper records, so we had that and kind of went from there.
You mentioned your hometown. Is that Athens, Ohio? Or
Yes.
Okay. What's the metal scene or music scene as a whole like in that community?
It's a college town. That's really what drives everything there. The economy, the art that's there, the music that's there. It's very, very much driven by a very liberal, college. So there's a very young population there, and so because of that, you have bands of all types, and you have a very supportive scene as well. You'll see people at a metal show on a Saturday, and then on Sunday they'll be hung over drinking Bloody Marys, watching a bluegrass band play at the bar. It's the same crowd and everything. So Athens maybe kind of got us out the door. Like, hey, we felt so much support there, and people would say, like, get out of here, go play somewhere else. Like, you represent Athens, go do something.
You were run out of town, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. I'm making it sound nice.
Did they have torches and pitchforks? I have to know.
No, actually.
With a name like Skeletonwitch.
They really didn't. They had like here's some cookies for the road.
Oh, okay.
They're probably weed cookies, but because it's Athens and it's such a weeded out type place.
Do you have any other projects other than Skeletonwitch right now? What do they? If so, what do they sound like? If not, is there anything else that you'd like to pursue musically apart from Skeletonwitch?
I don't have anything at the moment, and I don't have any plans to at the moment. But you never know. There's a lot of stuff I like outside of heavy metal, so you never know what the future would bring. But I have no immediate plans. This is too time consuming. I mean, we're either on tour or planning the next tour. Always. We tour a lot of years 8 months out of the year, so the 4 months we're home is like order merch, plan the next tour, even figure out press stuff, like meeting up with you guys and stuff with the label, and it's just boom, we're back out there again.
how do you approach writing material? Do you have a specific career goal in mind for Skeletonwitch? And if so, how does that play out album to album, or do you just jam?
We definitely don't jam.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're not one of those bands that sits around and just like jams out, man. Nate and I write independently with drum machines, and we send each other just like email or just we'll hang out. It used to be cassettes. We used to have analog 4-tracks, and we have an excuse to go meet up and like drink beers and hang out. We live an hour apart now.
Okay.
And so we play each other what we have, and once everything is to a point where we're pretty happy with it, we send it to everybody else, and it's a really, pardon the pun, but it's very skeletal. It's just a drum machine and 2 guitar parts.
Pun intended with that, or no?
No, not intended.
Okay.
But, not this time. I'll do another one.
All right, later.
Same
yeah.
pun.
Okay.
Yeah, so we send it to everybody, and then, okay, Dustin will write drum parts that are much, much more interesting and organic than the lame-ass drum machine stuff that we have, and Evan will write bass lines, because usually there's no bass on there, in case, every once in a while there is, but usually we don't, put any bass on there, and he comes up with his stuff, and then Chance comes up with his lyrics and vocal parts, so everybody has a chance to be a part of the process, and Evan even contributed some guitar riffs to the last record too. Everyone is welcome to contribute at any point of the process, but it typically starts with Nate first and foremost, and then I usually end up writing a handful of songs or throwing riffs at him, and we get it where we like it, and then put sort of meat on the bones after that.
You mentioned yourself, Skeletonwitch are touring machines. It seems like you're always busy with something. You said it yourself. Is it important to you to keep the gears moving at all time, or does it just kind of come natural?
To do this full time, which is what we do, like we don't, at this point, we aren't required to have other jobs besides Skeletonwitch to make ends meet.
Lucky you.
It is, yeah. Lucky us and hard work us. And, once you get to that point, it's great, but at the same time, if you take a ton of time off, like being on the road, we sell merch, we get paid for playing, and it keeps the wheels turning and keeps things going. So it's sort of like we took the plunge and decided to do this full time and let everything else in our lives, be on the back burner for this band. And so because of that, and especially when we really needed it, we had to just keep going and going and going. And now, we can take a little bit of time off and not be financially destitute. But still, got to keep moving, got to keep things rolling. So not just because there's money coming in, but because we like doing this. We get bored. We're texting each other the day we get home. You get off tour and you think man, I need a break from these dudes. They're my favorite people in the world, but we just need a break. And then an hour after I get home, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm texting the other guys in the band. So, we want to be on the road doing this, and it just so happens that it also helps us make ends meet and keep things rolling too,
What similarities or differences in crowds or fans have you noticed throughout the cities, countries, or even continents that you've played?
Wow. There's a commonality amongst all metalheads, it's a tight-knit community, so there's a little bit of love no matter where you are. Just, you're walking down the street and you see a dude in a Slayer t-shirt amongst a sea of just, obviously people who seemingly, if you're going to judge them on appearance, don't like heavy metal, and you're in line with that guy at the gas station, or you walk by each other and you kind of just there's that common thread that's yeah, we're both probably at some point treated as outcasts because we like heavy metal. So there's always that. There are some differences, and I think European crowds tend to be a little less wild until they're familiar with your band. They're known for being wild, but when we first go over there, the first tour we did over there, we thought people hated us until after we played the set, and then we would talk to some guy, and he's like, no, I've never heard you guys before. I was just watching, like serious fret watchers. They're just almost like a dog, turning their head what the fuck are you guys doing? And then afterwards, the dude would come to the merch table and buy stuff, and I was like, I have to be honest with you, I thought you hated that. And I was like, you're just I loved it. I just was checking it out. I was like, oh, okay. Whereas in America, they're if people don't know you, the general metalhead, we're generalizing of course here, is that's fucking loud and fast and heavy, and I'm drunk, let's start punching people, let's go punch people, and just goes nuts. Whereas in Europe, there's a little more of well, I just had to see what you're going to do the first 5 times you played here before I moved a little bit. That's me doing Evan's impersonation of anyone in Europe, by the way.
So
it's so horrible.
America.
Yeah. No, but I'm just trying to say anything bad about them, because there's also there's also a sort of undying love that you get from European fans once you sort of you're over there enough and they're familiar with you enough, and they sort of bring you into the fold and It's rad that once you're sort of brought into the metal community over there and accepted as like an outsider, an American band, like you'd think some of these bands are trying to lose fans by how horrible they are after like 30 years of being like in obscurity, and you're like, you just can't lose shakes the Europeans. They just love them. You're listening to this horrible, horrible record by some band that no one's ever heard of in the U.S. that's just like going over there and like getting paid like 30,000 euro to play a show, and you're just like, holy shit, that's loyalty.
Nice.
Fan loyalty, like, wow.
Is there any particular geographic location, type of crowd that you prefer? Big audiences, small audiences?
No, we prefer a crowd as opposed to no crowd. That's just a dumbass answer. No, I mean, there's great things about both. I mean, it's fun to play at Wacken in front of, 30, 40, 50,000 people and, strum a chord on your guitar and you can feel it, it's so loud. Like that's a pretty great feeling and a pretty, fun thing to do, and it's like, you don't get to do that very often, so it's pretty special. But you also, like, midway through the set, you're like, fuck, people are so far away. Like, you miss that sort of intimacy that you have at a small club show, now, which we still do all the time. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. They're both great for their own reasons, and I always, I would always want to do both. Even if club show means it's slightly bigger than some of the ones we used to play, I still want to make sure, that we get to do those types of shows.
This is now at least the third North American run in which you've supported Amon Amarth. Is there any reason why this happened, or just can we continue more teaming up like this in the future?
I think they probably got drunk after each time. They were like, well, we're going to tour again. And then their manager was like, well, there's this band called Skeletonwitch. They were like, who's that? That sounds cool. And then they were like, oh, it's these guys. Then they got home, they got drunk again. And they were like, Skeletonwitch, that sounds cool. Let's take them out. And they're like, oh, fuck, it's these guys again.
Goes round and round.
Yeah. We've become good friends with them. And they're really, really good people. Obviously, without getting into any details, like, as Nate said on stage, we're a guy shy. We don't have our singer with us, and those guys were super, super cool about everything that happened and like letting us stay on the tour, like not giving a shit what we did, like, did everything they could to just make it, they're just so hospitable, such nice dudes, such great touring partners, and I'm not just, I'm not just kissing ass, like we're almost done with the tour, it's the third one, we're probably not going to do any more for a little while. I'm not just doing this to do it. I really, really mean it. Like, there's a lot of stuff that happens backstage that no one sees, and those guys are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and they really, really helped us out on this tour, so super, super, like, thankful to those guys. And so I guess they just bring us along because for some reason they like us. I don't know.
As of late, St. Louis has received a reputation among touring bands, regardless of genre at this point, as a place only to stop for a show if you want your van broken into and or your equipment, gear, and belongings stolen. Has this ever happened to you, and if so, when and where?
No, it has not. We exercise pretty extreme precaution as far as where we park the van, where we stay for the night. Montreal has that reputation as well. There's been a lot of stuff.
I wouldn't have guessed. It's kind of an artsy city.
No, I know. We wouldn't have thought so either. But if you look online, there's been a lot of bands ripped off. There was a whole it's bad. So no, I mean we try to just take care of our shit. Like, don't leave valuables laying around, whether it's inside the venue or like leave a computer bag sitting on your chair, or like on my seat in the van, or like the dashboard. Like
a certain New Orleans stoner band left their door open in front of Foo Bar of their van, and
oh really? Well, geez, you're fucking asking for it at that point. We just went to go party with our friends and left our van unlocked in the middle of a downtown metropolis. I don't know why anyone went in there and stole our shit. So
I also don't know why anyone would call St. Louis a metropolis, but thank you.
I just meant it like in general.
Okay, yeah.
No, but you can take that.
No, thanks. There you go.
It's applicable.
Should the blame be placed on a band, the venue, the fans, the city? Should the city just be avoided altogether at that point? Like, if that ever happens to you, you're just like, we're done with St. Louis.
No, I mean that's like, if anybody would do that, that's horrible fucking logic. Like, was one person broke into our van, so
pay attention to other
an entire city full of people? You're an idiot. Where should the blame lie? I think that's case specific. What happened? Did you leave your door unlocked? Was it inside the venue? Like, did you have stuff in a green room, supposedly in a secured area? I guess it's case specific. And if you're avoiding an entire city because of a few assholes, then you're an idiot.
words to live by. Bands.
It's logic.
Yeah, really.
The city didn't rob you.
How do you utilize social media in your professional life throughout different platforms and the environment for each one?
It's a lot of stuff. I don't know. I mean, we post on, we use Instagram, you know, we Facebook, Twitter. It started to get so ridiculous to where I was like, the label was like, well, you should probably have an artist Spotify account. And I was like, God, another username and password, another thing that 5 people will look at. And anytime I post something, they'll say, when are you playing in St. Louis again? They'll say that tomorrow.
We do that a lot.
Or not when are you playing again? They'll say, when are you playing St. Louis?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yesterday. You know, so it's just like anything, though. Social media is a tool. It can be used for, you know, good or for evil.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to stick to just a website, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and we don't get too crazy beyond that, because there's a lot of things that come and go. So.
Not long ago, a now infamous Skeletonwitch interview with the AV Club led to a Twitter feud. Led to a Twitter feud. You wanna chime in on this at some point? You're welcome to. With the bare naked ladies. Come on in.
Now that the actually zoom out.
Let's get a little intro. This is the bassist here, Evan. This is Evan, everybody. Have you crossed paths with the bare naked ladies in any way since then?
No, we haven't crossed paths with them. As far as like the whole interaction goes, it was actually like, I got a little maybe like bummed out by it. Like, you know, basically The Onion has this column and it's hate songs. So you have a joke magazine that contacts you to purposely talk shit on a specific song, right? It's pretty self-explanatory. I talk shit on the song, and all of a sudden, I try not to read like comments and stuff all the time for our band, because, you know, kids were always like, fuck you guys, or like, y'all smell, or whatever.
That's what the comments are for.
Right, so, but it turns out, lo and behold, there's a million Bare Naked Ladies fans that still exist in the world, and they're ripping me apart online. And one kid, and I remember this happening, we played a festival in Germany on this huge stage. Of course, I didn't bring a long enough cable to Germany, so I'm playing on the stage. I walk over to the other side of the stage, rocking out with Nate, and I'm like, it sounds weird over here, there's no bass. And I look over and I'm just dragging my tuning pedal around the stage. So somebody commented like, that kid sucks at bass. I saw him unplug himself. Must have been that show, or the 10 other times that I've done it. But no, we haven't had any contact with them besides like that Twitter stuff. And you can't outsmart ass me. Like I am. I am the biggest smart ass of the band, and maybe this side of the Mississippi River. So
yep, you're in the gateway to the west, so we'll see how it works.
Right, yeah, these people might be able to outsmart ass me. Not these people in general, but y'all folk out here. But no, they sent. We had some like management representing us in Europe, and they sent them Bare Naked Ladies T-shirts, I guess.
I forgot about that.
I remember that. That was my favorite part of the story.
Scotty had,
funny.
Scotty had invited them to a show as well.
I found out they were going to be I don't remember what city it was.
It's here. We invited them to the Firebird.
St. Louis. Yes, that's right. They were playing St. Louis the day after we were playing, and I invited them to come hang out, and non-threatening, like, hey, for real, like, come hang out. Like, come say hi. Like, let's go and get dinner, or, like, have a beer or something if you guys are into that sort of thing. And they just stonewalled me.
Oh.
Maybe they thought it was like a trap.
Yeah, I met.
Stay classy, Bare Naked Ladies.
Well, I mean, maybe they were scared of like metal guys. I don't know if they thought we were serious.
No.
But
What's so scary?
They could have been cool dudes. Like I've met a million people doing this that their music is like dog shit, but they're awesome. they're awesome guys. You know what I mean? No, but it's serious though. Like we tour with bands, and you know, obviously I won't get into specifics. But I'm like, man, these motherfuckers suck. These songs suck, but the guys are awesome. You know, like they drink and party, and you hang out with them, and they like our jokes, we like their jokes. So maybe it's the same with
BNL.
Yeah, BNL.
Would you guys ever consider involving Skeletonwitch in a crowdfunding campaign of some kind?
I haven't considered it yet, and it's one of those things that I doubt we ever do something like that. You know, I've actually commented on this for an article in Decibel that I thought, like, once again, it's a tool that can be used for good or evil. You can fund a really cool documentary that can't get any money, that's having a hard time getting funding, or you can charge people to show up and like shake your hand at a fucking show, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's kind of like he said. You know, there's these things, these bands that are unsigned. It's hard to get signed. The climate of the record industry is really bad right now. So you have these kids playing in their basement. Maybe they're geniuses. They do this thing that say if you donate $10, it's the cost to record, and you get the album. That's great. You know what I mean? It's great that you can hear people and reach out to people like you've never been able to do through media. But at the same time, you hear about bands that are signed, that are charging people to oh, we'll give you a shout out for your bar mitzvah or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
it's like, really? Like, that's a money grab, you know, and,
They're using it for tour support, which is historically
Right.
a label's role. Like, we're a signed band on a tour, but we need more money, so...
right. I don't agree with why they're doing it, but I can kind of see that, yeah, money is sometimes an issue, but if you're really going to go out there and do this, and you have to do it under your own power, and, you get out there and sell T-shirts and just work hard, and then you'll be able to do it. And no one's getting rich in the metal industry. It's not the '80s, but you know, you have to kind of do it. You have to kind of do it yourself. You know?
Yeah, and
Don't ask for free stuff, I guess.
There's a line of integrity that gets, like, so some people, like,
Yes.
there's a, like I said, like, once again, using my stupid line that it's a, you know, a tool that can be used one way or the other. You know, some people just, if they have integrity and they use it in a way that's, you know, maintaining integrity, that's fine. But there are also just some, you know, hand in pocket bullshit, like, you know, crowdfunding campaigns going on that are ridiculous. No, I won't point any out, but they're out there.
You can shake our hand for free at the merch table anytime.
That's right.
We'll be there.
Yeah,
It's a bargain.
Yeah.
it is.
Last question: is there anything that you guys have done, either as individuals or as a band within Skeletonwitch, that anything you haven't done yet that you want to do at some point, long term or short term?
Yeah, tour Japan, tour South America, tour in Southeast Asia.
I was gonna say the same thing. It's always really exhilarating when you like go to a new place and you play songs in front of people. There's kind of like a vibe. It's sweet, you know. Like the first time we played in Norway, I remember being on that stage and there's so much metal history, and you're up there and you just get this awesome feeling that these people have no impression of you whatsoever. So it'd be awesome to go to these new places and you know, do what we do.
Scott, Evan, Skeletonwitch, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.